Are you living, or merely enduring your days, waiting for the clock to move fast enough so that the void does not devour you before sunset? I see you, hiding in the shadow of a corpse that you yourself helped bury, yet from whom you still await orders. God is dead, and we killed him, you and I. But look at yourself. You lack the greatness required to be the assassin of the most sacred and powerful being the world has ever known. You merely let him bleed to death under the knives of your own mediocrity. And now? Now you wander through an infinite nothingness, as if the earth had been unchained from its sun, no longer knowing what is above or below. Don't you feel the air growing colder? Don't you sense the night approaching? More and more night, so that you must light lanterns in broad daylight just to avoid tripping over your own despair. The central pain corroding you is this crisis of meaning that you try to mask with plastic smiles on digital screens. You live what I call affective nihilism, a weariness of life that is not merely an idea, but a state of exhaustion, weakness, and deep self-disgust. You have become the last man, that contemptible creature who wants nothing but comfort, security, and cheap happiness. You blink and say, "We invented happiness," while your existence becomes smaller, more insignificant by the day. You can no longer create. You can no longer desire anything beyond the immediate satisfaction of impulses you barely understand. Why did you accept this slave morality that teaches you to hate strength, hate the body, and hate the only earth you truly possess? You feel guilty for being human, ashamed of your instincts, and you transform your weakness into a lying virtue. Your pain is the result of pulling the rug of Christian morality from beneath your own feet, without having the strength to build a new ground in its place. You are trapped in this existential vacuum, this mass neurosis that defines your age, where being has no meaning, and you try to fill the hole with addiction, boredom, and a depression that does not come from your genes, but from the absence of a why. You doubt essential meanings and thus feel yourself annihilating, emptying out with every second. Your points of reference are gone. The ground has vanished. What remains is a kind of phenomenological solipsism, in which you no longer feel that you belong to your own body or to this physical world. The world feels unreal to you, doesn't it? A vast distance has opened between yourself and external reality, and you feel like a stranger in your own skin. I accuse you of having thrown away your will to power in exchange for cowardly survival. Yet I also understand you, because I know what it is to look into the abyss and feel the cold breath of nothingness. I know what it is to carry the weight of a thought that can either crush you or transform you. You accepted herd morality because you fear solitude, fear the responsibility of becoming the creator of your own values. You conform to what they do, what they think, what they feel, and thus become inauthentic, a shadow of yourself. But listen carefully. Your pain is the rebellion of your spirit against this purposeless life. It is the sign that something in you has not yet accepted becoming the last man. You are choking on the black serpent of mediocrity, and the only way to free yourself is to bite its head off and spit it out. Do you want to remain asleep, or finally awaken to the terrible and divine light of the truth I discovered? I did not arrive at this thought through dusty books or sterile academic arguments. My truth was written with my own blood and sweat. I lived every word I wrote. In August 1881, I was walking through the forest near Lake Silvaplana in Switzerland, 6,000 feet beyond humanity and time. There, beside a massive pyramidal rock, the thought of thoughts struck me like lightning. The idea of the eternal return. It was not a calculation, it was a sudden awakening, a state of mind that left me paralyzed with horror and fascination. I realized that every moment of my life, every searing pain, every small joy, every thought and every breath would have to return to me infinitely, in the same sequence and detail, forever. My life was not a peaceful stroll. It was a constant battle against physical illness and profound solitude. From early on, I was surrounded by the pious morality of women who presented me with a God of compassion that made no sense in a world of hatred and force. I saw my father die young. I saw faith collapse under the weight of scientific rationalism. and I understood that humanity was killing its own source of meaning, without having anything to replace it. I became a wanderer, a philosopher of isolation, seeking in mountain peaks the clarity the flatlands of the herd could never give. I observed the human herd from afar, and saw how they used religion and morality to castrate their own desires and instincts. They call their inability to take revenge goodness, and their cowardice humility. I saw how the church fought passions through castration, without ever asking how a desire could be spiritualized, beautified, or divinized. I understood that existence is eternally justified only as an aesthetic phenomenon. My physical pain taught me that the body is not something I have, but something I am. It is lived, not merely known. I realized that suffering is not a cosmic mistake, but an essential catalyst for growth. Confronting pain and transcending it leads to a higher strength. I saw the shepherd choking on the black serpent, the embodiment of the eternal return of the mediocre man, and I understood that only by biting off and spitting out the head of that abysmal vision could I become a transformed being, surrounded by light and a golden laughter that transcends tragedy. I arrived at this truth when I realized that we are the authors of our own lives, or at least we should be. My truth is amor fati, the love of fate. I learned to desire nothing different, neither forward nor backward, throughout all eternity. It is not enough to endure what is necessary. One must love it. I saw how historical progress was a modern illusion, a lie told by Hegel and Darwin to make us believe we were moving towards something better, when in truth we are merely spinning on the eternal ring of existence. Time is a circle, and truth is crooked. Every moment is the point where the portal to eternity opens. My experience showed me that man is a rope stretched between the animal and the Übermensch, a rope over an abyss. I am not a nihilist. I am the greatest opponent of nihilism, because I showed how to cross the desert of nothingness and create new values from the void itself. If there is no final goal in the universe, no rest or balance, then the universe has no external purpose beyond what the will itself assigns to it. I arrived at this truth by destroying every imposed interpretation, surviving the demolition of the world to discover the correct path for humanity. And this path is not for everyone. It is the prerogative of the strong, of those who have the courage to give style to their own character, integrating even their weaknesses into an artistic plan of life. Now look at your modern life, this shadow theatre, in which you drown daily. You live in chronic anxiety because deep down, you know you are free. But this freedom is a sentence that leaves you dizzy before infinite possibilities without a compass. Your social networks are the temple of the last man, where you seek the herd's approval to feel real, yet all you find is the echo of your own emptiness. You use work as entertainment to avoid facing the silence of your own soul, and you stuff yourself with little poisons and fleeting pleasures to have pleasant dreams and a painless death. What does my truth mean for you today? It means you are facing the ultimate test, the eternal return. If a demon were to appear tonight in your room, in your loneliest solitude, and tell you that you must live this very day, this anxiety, this draining job, this digital loneliness, this lack of courage, again and again for all eternity, would you collapse and curse the demon, or would you say you had never heard anything more divine? Your anxiety is the sign that you are not the master of your own existence. You are a follower, a herd animal who does what they do and feels what they feel. Solitude terrifies you because, when you are alone, there is no one to tell you who you are, and you discover that inside you are merely an existential void filled with borrowed noise. Your fear of failure, of not being successful by society's standards, proves that you are still trapped in slave morality. You seek happiness, but happiness is the goal of the mediocre. Greatness demands conflict, resistance, and overcomes suffering. Wake up. The digital world is merely a modern variation of the nihilism I foresaw, a fragmentation of attention that prevents you from forming a coherent personal narrative. turning you into a centerless automaton. You live disconnected moments, without past or future, trapped in an empty now that never becomes destiny. Your noological depression is not a chemical error. It is your spirit screaming that this life you live is not worth living even once, let alone infinitely. The boredom you feel is the cry of a will to power suffocated by safety and comfort. Do not wait for an artificial happy ending or a salvation from outside. There are no gods left to save you, and the progress of humanity is a fairy tale for children. What remains is you, and your ability to say yes to the earth and to your own life, with all its imperfection and horror. If you wish to be worthy of the death of God, you must become a god unto yourself, creating your own values and becoming your own judge. Be the poet of your existence, not the passive reader of a script written by faceless bureaucrats and marketing algorithms. My final warning to you is this: time is passing, and it will return to collect every second of your cowardice. The heaviest weight lies upon your actions. If you continue as the last man, you will be crushed by eternity. But if you have the courage to embrace your fate, to love your destiny, and to seek the Übermensch within your own self-overcoming, then you may laugh in the face of the abyss. The choice is yours, and you make it at every instant, because existence begins anew in each moment. Do you want this once more, and innumerable times more? Let this question be the seal and confirmation of every step you take from now on. Either you transform now, or prepare to become nothing more than dust in an eternal hourglass that never stops turning. The demon is at your door. What will you answer him?